4. 3 months is pretty new. Still have that new agent smell. Oh no, that's cars. I'm sorry. Okay, well, it's good to have you new guys here. Appreciate you being here. So some of you are been in the business for 30-something years too, which is cool. Thank you for coming. So today, guess what I'm going to talk about? Just take some guesses. Scheduling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Life.
Life, okay.
The spring market.
The spring market. What did you say?
Mindset.
Mindset. Interesting. Somebody that knows me well. We might talk about mindset today. Yeah, we might. We might talk about all those things actually you guys mentioned, but every so often, one of you inspire me. Right? We all try to inspire each other at times. One of the associates that we have here today taught a class in our market center in Newtown maybe a couple days ago. And it was part of Ignite. And he came in and just happened to be telling me kind of the concept that he basically came up with to make something make sense. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I'm going to ask him to come up and share what he shared with me. So Bob Meisner, would you come up? Give him a hand. You want the microphone? Yeah, because I'm
My face.
I'm sorry.
That's good.
I just want you guys to be able to hear him, so.
Yeah, this was a class on pricing, how to price a listing. But what I wanted to start with them is I could tell that they get frustrated, just like many of us, because we're bombarded with tons of stuff. And we see, as we were just having a conversation there, we see so many people in our industry that have so much to offer. And as we get to know them, we look at them like, wow, that person's got it all together, they're a rock star. And the more you may get to know them, you're like, wow, that's a train wreck. We're just waiting to happen. We've all met somebody like that. And I'm one of those like thinkers where, how does this whole thing fit? And we're given so much training here at Keller, especially the people that are newer. They didn't seem to have a framework to put that within. A couple of weeks ago with Matt Peter, we had the 6 personal perspectives, which is amazing. But until that switch is flipped inside your head, sometimes you just don't get it. So like so often, many things come to me for some strange, sick, crazy reason in the shower for me. And I don't know why that is. That's maybe just because I'm alone, nothing bothers me, my phone's not going off. But so this kind of came to me. So I'm just going to draw it, because I'm a very visual person. And some of these things you might have seen before, okay? But that's okay. So these represent 5 different quadrants in your life that you should really focus on. The first one at the top, I'm just going to abbreviate it, would be a spiritual element, faith. It's kind of a thing where everything kind of comes together. And in my world, that's where my why, my purpose would be coming from. Another one would be financial. Over here would be physical. Down here would be personal. When I say personal, I'm thinking personal growth. Things that you do to feed your mind, things that kind of keep you motivated, that kind of thing. And down here would be business, okay? So when I first was introduced to this myself, it was introduced in an aspect of, think of this as a gas gauge, and how are you with each of these quadrants? Are you half full, are you half empty? Where are you at in the whole process? When I look at this because every fall, about October, I go away for a day or so, and I do my goal setting. But I do it from a perspective of, in each of these quadrants, what do I want? For my personal, what time do I need for myself to grow, to read what books? What am I going to do to improve myself? What kind of personal time? But it also breaks down into my family. I have multiple sheets, so for each family member that I have, I've got something that's going across this that says, hey, what do I want to accomplish with my son? or do with my son or something in that element. So this was kind of like a big picture. Many times in our training, we focus just on the business thing, but what kind of really brought this home for me is I did one of these. Okay, give myself a couple of eyes, not much hair. So it became, okay, this really is who I am as an individual and as a person. And I looked at that, and so many people spend so much time down here, and I put these as legs purposefully, because the personal part, and the personal growth, the thing that came into my head is if you're not growing, you're not going. So these are the legs that get you to where you want to be in life. The business, this funds your perfect life. But which one of these are you willing to cut off and deal without and not invest time in? Because you're cutting off one of your limbs. The top part here, the head, was really the thing that drives the whole process. Because at various times in life I've had it happen in my life. I had a family member die on Thanksgiving Day unexpectedly, being a father and a 12-year-old kid. Well, that's a major impact in your life. And what part of that keeps that together? And for me, it's the spiritual part, the faith part, because it keeps you grounded. It keeps you heading to where you want to go. Honestly, the physical part and this part, this is always a part that's a work in order for me, because I'm always refining my why. And for me, it's what's that purpose that I'm on this rock for? Why am I here? What elements of all this? This is just living in life and all that stuff, but why am I really kind of here? This is a constant work for me, at any given time. Guys that are in our group, our mastermind group, they always hear me struggle and bounce this stuff, off. We all have our own self-doubts. We have all that kind of junk. But so this is a battle. I just like too much candy on this one. So if I just cut out the candy and hit the gym, I could probably nail that too, but I haven't been successful with that. But so this is the kind of thing that we were talking about yesterday, because people didn't have a framework to put that in. So that's what, I just drew that with John and kind of shared that with him, and he wanted to share that with me. But there was you can almost deal without any of these. Like you can cut off a limb on one of these, and you could survive. You couldn't cut out this one, because at some point, you're gonna have something happen in your life. Your business is gonna go in the tank. You're gonna have a relationship fall apart. Your financial, you go bankrupt, whatever. But this, for me, is probably the most important part, because if you don't have this, you're just gonna cease to exist. So I'm not sure if you want me to get any further in depth than that, but.
You guys have any questions for him, like his thought process on this, or thoughts, or ahas that came to you regarding your life?
Well, I want to say, Bob talked to me a little bit earlier, but throughout life I've noticed that is more common than not, where, we're all kind of alike. We're all human nature, and you might think somebody has it all together and they're so much better situated than you are.
Yeah.
But really, you can learn from everybody.
Yeah.
But you'll notice that we're all kind of alike, and you sort of pick up those tips from those that really have it, different things from different people. But everybody, as an individual, may not have 100% of it together, and that's normal.
Yeah. One of the cool things we talked about a couple of weeks ago was, and I was sitting in a different place when this kind of came to me, we're all coming from different backgrounds. My personal background, my parents were from Western Pennsylvania, so many of you in this room will make more in a month than my parents ever made in a year. So we didn't have this, we talk about a mentality of abundance. That was not the case, for me growing up. A vacation was a foreign thing for us. In fact, when we got married, my wife and I got married, I married my high school sweetheart. The vacation thing, she wanted to take a vacation. I'm like, we're not wasting money on a vacation, because that just wasn't normal for me. And that's why that was explained to me. So we all come from a different background. But I was sitting actually in church one day when I should have been paying attention, and the thought process of when we're born, we're handed, whether we like it or not, we're handed an operating system like a computer. And in that operating system, you're given what your parents want you to have. Good, bad, or indifferent, you get it. But then as you go through life, you come in across people that are different, that are maybe killing it at a different level that you're not. In each of these areas, you should have somebody in your life that is so much better than you, that you can glean from them, that you can learn from that. And that can be a struggle for many of us to find that right person. But as you go through life, if you don't upgrade your operating system and change your thought process and view that and do it through personal growth, you're going to cease, like a computer, you're going to cease to exist and be able to function in society or in those goals that you're setting. So it was kind of an interesting analogy for me that, hey, no matter where you're at on the continuum of life, whether you're at the end of it, you're always going to be looking at something that you can do better and upgrade your operating system to improve yourself personally. But the question that we talk about so much is, how much is enough? When do you know if you're done? Because there's so many places you can go. You've got a guy like Noah Ostroff down in Philadelphia. I'm never going to be a Noah Ostroff. I don't want to be a Noah Ostroff. But you're exposed to those kind of things in our industry. So for me, this helps. Having a picture of where I want to be and who I want to be as an individual helps me take all that information that we get and sort that and kind of define who I'm going to be and what it takes for me to get to that place. So.
I like the concept of upgrading your operating system, right? That's pretty much up here. Or rebooting, right? Sometimes you talk to a tech person, and what do they say? Just turn your phone off, turn it back on, right? Just reboot it. And that might clear up your problem. And sometimes that actually is the only issue. I think that's how our brains are too. And that's why I like what Bob was saying. I was like, wow, what standards do we have, right? What standards do we have individually for our lives, for our personal growth, for our finances, for our spiritual life, our physical life, right? We only have one body. We don't take care of it, we die, right? We only have one business, pretty much, most of us. We're going to take care of it, it dies, right? If you don't show up to work, pretty much most of you don't make money, right? So you stop paying your bills, everything starts to fall apart. How do we fund, what Gary Keller says is, how do we fund the perfect life? What is our perfect life? So all of you, we could go around and talk to you, and it could be different all over the place, what a perfect life looks like, right? Some of us are going to want to take 4 vacations a year. Some of us are going to want to have passive income that funds our life. So we're only earning over that, right, in our actions. Some of us are on just a growth journey, and we're just not happy if we're not moving forward, right? I like, somebody I was talking to recently said, John, I think it's a weakness, I'm not sure, but I just can't sit still. I can't deal with mediocrity. I can't just sit around. And I tell Kathleen, if I'm sitting at my desk too long, there's probably something wrong, right? I need to be mobile. I'm like you guys, right? You're up and down, go and see people. If you're not seeing people, right, as a real estate agent, it's hard to be good. It's hard to be productive. As much as these computers are fantastic, and they are, they're not the be-all and end-all, they're a tool, right? So we're talking about Wealth Building Wednesday, right? Wealth building, success is what we talk about a lot in here, right? Those of you who've been here a few times, at least. And success can be considered, different things to different people. This thing's a bother, so don't let it distract you, because it's not distracting me. So I was looking at the MREI book. Everybody know what that is? Millionaire Real Estate Investor. It's a blue book. I didn't bring it in. It's in my car. But I happened to be looking at it for someone else. We were talking about something else, and I said, I think the answer is in that book. And so I looked it up and found it and gave it to him, and it was great. But in the beginning of the book, I thought it was interesting. It defines financial wealth, right? Because I think we went around the room here and we said, what is wealth to you? We would get different answers. Some of us have been dealing with health issues, would be, I'm wealthy because I'm here. My eyes opened this morning. I'm breathing, right? I'm past that scare I had or whatever, right? That would be part of wealth. Health is part of wealth, I think, right? Life, yeah? But they define it here as the unearned income to finance your life mission without having to work. What? Does that make sense to you guys?
You have to build up to the though, in my mind here, okay? Because you have earned it to get there. For example, your residuals here and so forth.
Yeah. Yep.
Dividends. That to me says when money's working for you and you're not working for the money.
Yep. And in our world, sometimes property. Property's working for us while we're sleeping, you know? You said dividends.
Yeah, I was just reading about dividends, and so people are, people who invest in stocks.
Yeah,
A lot of people are focused on dividend investing because that pays them an income
right,
at the retirement.
right. We had Tucker Brown. Who was here for Tucker Brown from Merrill Lynch? He's a senior vice president. He talked about money, right, and finances and everything. And I thought he was phenomenal because I did not prepare him that day to talk like us. He talked like us, right? He understood business, profit and loss, expenses and income, and net income and net profit, and gross income and gross profit, right? He understood all that. He talked our language at KW, which I really, really appreciated. I was like, I cannot believe you were as good in that area. You talked our language. Now, come to find out, he's super smart, and he did a little research on us, right? He knew kind of who he was talking to, so I give him credit. And I didn't pay him. He's my friend. Actually, he's my wife's cousin, but he's my friend too, so. Unearned income to finance your life mission. So let's take this part out without having to work. That's, oh, really? Right, let's take that out for a second. Life mission. Life mission. What's my life mission? Does anybody have a life mission that they've actually written down? Yeah, what's your life mission?
To take care of my family.
Every family. Anybody else? Can you make one up? It sounds good in front of everybody and sound really smart. I think we talk about purpose a lot. We talk about something called the big why. Does anybody get tired of the big why around here? Finding out my big why. You start to write it down and you're like, never mind, I'm just going to go sell some houses. Right? It's important though. That's why we bring it up over and over and over again. Because if we know why, when we get up, our feet hit the ground, and we know why our feet are going in a certain direction. It's not as complicated as we want to make it up here, right? So I'm a person of faith as well as Bob, and we were kind of talking about spirituality being an important part. I'm a person of faith, so my big why is to honor God by helping those around me be the best they can be, and therefore I'm the best. I have to be the best I can be, right? That's really why I get up. What excites me when I talk to you guys. When Ashley, when you came to me, she was a newbie. I'm not sure you sold a house yet.
Yeah.
Right? And she said, "Here's my business plan. Here's where I'm going. Can you look this over? Give me some tips." And I was like, she's going to make it. That's amazing. Right? Because it was up here. And then it got here. And she had a why. She was able to articulate why to me. Can you articulate why? If you were in the bright light at the detective's office was on you? Why do you do what you do? Right? Could you give a good answer? Yeah,
Our why changes all the time.
sure does. Health, family,
Age,
age,
that's where I'm at.
time of life, right? Because you have different stages even of life.
Mhm.
My wife and I are about to become empty nesters. It changes things, right? She's 17 and we're pretty much like empty nesters because she's not home much because she's got a life, you know. She's got her own car. She pays for her own gas. We're 3 out of the house, self-sufficient, so that's good. I thought, instead of talking out here, it'd be good to, at least one time, give you guys tools. Give you guys meat to think about. So that's where my head was on this week, was meat. Give you something you can take home and chew on and work on. So I went to the One Thing book. I was actually looking at it for someone else, a situation they were talking to me about, and I thought this book would be good for them. They were having focusing issues, is basically, they didn't say that to me, but they were having focusing issues. I'm all over the place, right? I can't get done what I'm supposed to get done because I'm so distracted, is really what this person was telling me. And I was like, welcome to Earth, right? In Earth, yeah, in real estate, and my world and your world, right? I can't tell you how many times I'm talking to one of you and your phone either rings or buzzes and you cannot help but look at it. Even though it's a little bit disrespectful to me when we're talking, right? But we're all been there. It's a natural reaction. What is it? Is it good? You know, is it gonna be $1 million house sale I'm gonna do right now? Who wants to list their house? Right? But sometimes it's an ad from Best Buy, right? Because we signed up for some email thing or whatever. Anybody have that kind of issue, by the way, distractions get in your way? No. Because if you didn't have your hand up, you're a liar. One of the things I thought, and I thought you could take some notes, by the way, I put Kathleen's email, it's Kathleen@JohnMcClintock.com. She'll send you these slides and it has page numbers, things like that you can go back to the book and look at if you want. I really want you to use this as a tool to better yourself, better your business, better your family life, whatever it is, because I think you can. What does go small mean? That's a Gary Keller term, by the way. What does that mean, go small?
Stay in your comfort zone.
Stay in your comfort zone, okay?
Make small little adjustments, don't do the whole big blown out thing that you might have seen, just take a small step on that.
Okay?
How do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time?
Yep. Yep. Has anyone read the One Thing book? Has anyone read it and understood it? And thought it was something you could use in your life? If you read the book, the concept basically is going small is always doing the right thing, the best thing, for, you know, getting that done. That's going small. We all have, if we wanted to right now, I could have you take the next 5 minutes and write down your to-do list that you're thinking of you could think of right now. I guarantee we can all come up with 10 things, right? At least 10. The other day, I realized I had about 26 shirts at the cleaners. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how long has that been there? Because it's been a while, and I couldn't remember. You know, I take the tag they give you and I put it in my visor, and I never put the visor down, so I didn't see it. You know, it didn't remind me. I think it's going to remind me, but it didn't. So I was like, how do I carve out literally 15 minutes to go get that stuff? Because I'm, at this point, storing 26 shirts at their store, right? And I think they get upset after a while. How do I get those shirts back? And by the way, I'm like Paul Allen. I have a shirt fetish, button-down work for us shirt. I mean, you go to Paul Allen's house, and I've never seen so many blue, white, striped, everything, shirts. He would go to Joseph A. Banks for no good reason and buy 3 shirts, just because there was maybe a sale or he thought he needed. And he'd go back and I'd be like, you already have those shirts. You know? Why'd you buy them again? He's like, no, I don't. And I'm like, yes, you do. because I have them basically the same styles or whatever. Anyway, how do I carve out 15 minutes in my life to go to the cleaner? How ridiculous is that? How busy can you be, right? I really had to like put it on the list of stuff I had to accomplish, you know, by the end of the week or today or whatever, right? I actually have to give myself stress over these things to get them accomplished sometimes because it's not that important, right? It's not life or death. Nobody's going to get hurt. But it's still disrespectful to them. I haven't paid them yet for that. They're done, right? They're a business. I understand that. So go small. How do you go small? Prioritize. That's excellent. Gary Keller says make a to-do list and then prioritize them. Rank them. What's the one thing I can do right now that I'll get extraordinary results and it might make everything else unnecessary to do? How about this? Does anybody know about the domino effect? He basically talks about a study that scientists, I guess, have done where a very small domino can hit something a little bit larger, and that hit something a little bit larger, and within like a short period of time, it's knocking a building over, basically, right? Because that's the force, it just keeps getting, right, bigger, bigger, bigger. So, but you only start with a little domino to accomplish knocking the building over down the road there. Same concept. If you want to read about it, I give you the page numbers. I'm not going to go over it. How about this? Does that make sense? Success leaves clues. What does that mean?
Don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Okay. Anyone else?
The idea of shadowing someone who's a bit more successful or doing what you're doing in a larger arena maybe, because what they do and to mock and mimic them is to find the clues to their success.
Yes, that goes along with what Bob was telling us over here. Get someone you respect that's better than you at these things and hang around with them. That's basically what I heard him say, right? Gary Keller says we should have 5 people in our lives, right? And they're all consultants that are better than us at the health, finances, business, spiritual. What else? 5th one.
Physical?
Physical, I think I said that.
Personal growth.
Personal growth, like stuff, you know, basically, if you have somebody that you can go to, that's why we promote coaching for business, right? A lot of times our coaches aren't even telling you about business, they're trying to get your head straight, to get you to do purposeful behavior. You know, they're not even giving you a roadmap necessarily yet, because they're working on up here first. There are people out there that are better than you at everything. And if you find them and you hang around, guess what? You get better. Diane does script practice. She's one of our top agents every year, year after year. Why does she have to do scripts anymore? It's like she could teach the scripts class, right?
She does.
Actually, she does, yeah. But why does she keep doing it? It's not for you guys and for class, it's for her. And there's someone else doing it with her that she's helping. And there's a good feeling to that, right? You're helping someone else have something come out naturally. Sometimes she puts us to shame in our mastermind group because it's just right off the top of her head, she has it, right? There's no, what do we call it when some, hesitation, but,
Rejection?
yeah, when somebody brings up an issue.
Unconscious confidence? Rejection.
Yeah, yes, when somebody brings up an issue, yeah, she has unconscious competence because she's done it so much. I like that very much. But you get an objection, there's nothing she can't handle. Guarantee right now. I could bring her up right now and we could pepper her with, yeah, my house is nicer than my neighbor's, right? You know, I just sold, and she has, boom, and you're like, crap, that was good. You know? But Why does an expert continue to practice? Right?
Because practice makes perfect.
Same reason
What
athletes,
was that perfect one?
I didn't get to
Hmm?
Carnegie Hall.
same reason athletes.
Yeah. Athletes practice what?
I didn't get to Carnegie Hall.
Huh.
Practice, practice, practice.
Mhm.
I remember I was living in Yardley Run, saw my neighbor, and she's real quiet. And barely talks, you gotta make her talk. So I asked her, we went to our mailboxes at the same time across the street, you know? And I said, how you doing, Julie? She said, I'm good. I said, I heard you did something special. You know. I go, come on, what did you do? Her son told me. But I wanted to hear it from her, because she had just played on Saturday, Carnegie Hall, the violin. And it was the first, what do they call the first person? in the- First chair, without practice. She played first chair, the person got sick. Second chair was too scared. Could you come up and do it? She said, no problem. Right? That's somebody who has talent. Huh? That's how she talks. That's how she communicates with the music. I remember when their windows would be up, the whole family are really great musicians, and PJ, or Patrick, their son, is now a music teacher at Pennsbury High School. And I remember when they would play together, because the dad played piano, she played violin, and the kids played brass and all kinds of instruments, they would have their windows open sometimes when it was nice weather, and people would literally just come outside and listen in their front yards and listen to them play. Really cool, right? Okay, so I think at the end of the day, we believe lies. Not lies that we tell each other, lies we tell ourselves. So I think we should debunk some lies today. That's really where I'm coming from right now. And I want to get your head straight. So you can hit the ground running if you want to, or it doesn't have to be this afternoon, but say tomorrow morning, in a direction. All right?
Here are the two different.
So one of the things that we have a problem with, and I'm just telling you from my perspective, myself included, we believe that everything matters equally. Does it?
It's hard to wrap my head around that one, John.
It's hard to wrap your head around it?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think some things are more equal than others. It all depends on the moment, perhaps, and the equalness will change as life changes and the day
Sure.
changes.
Mhm. Is there something you could do that's more valuable than the next thing?
Yes.
Like tonight, could you go home and instead of watching The Voice, is The Voice on tonight? I forget.
That's the voice.
It's a show. It's really
Monday.
It's really popular.
I don't know.
I know. You need to get out from under your rock. No, I'm just kidding.
Survivor.
Yeah, exactly. Don't start watching it, because then you'll be watching it every time.
Is it a reality show?
Let's say it's on tonight. Instead of watching The Voice, you read a book, like The One Thing, or you make a plan for tomorrow for work, or, right? That would be, you might weigh that differently, watching a TV show or doing something productive for tomorrow, right? Can you think of anything else that might just be more valuable than the next thing?
Sometimes when we work, I get wrapped up doing follow-up or
Yeah.
doing things that are not important.
Yeah,
So now in the morning, I wake up and I think, what things are gonna be making money tomorrow?
good. What do we call that? Doing the right thing, not the wrong thing. Right? The 80-20. What's the 80-20? Anybody?
80% of the work gets done, 20% of the task.
20% of your effort is 80% of your results? I just reworded it a little bit, but that's what you
That word was a
meant.
little weird.
Yeah, that's what you meant. You went the backwards way, it's okay. So, Nidhi, what you're kind of saying is, what's my 20%? What's the money-making things, and what shouldn't I be doing? Right? The 80% is the stuff that, it's not that important to get done right now. Checking your email isn't always the most productive thing you can do, right? If you're like me, half of it is just deleting crap, you know, and marking that something's been read so you don't have to look at it again, or I don't know, you know, right? You just, or how about Facebook, scrolling on your phone, right? It's so easy. See what's going on in the world. I don't know, but it happens to us, right? We want to see what our friends are doing or whose birthday it is today. But is that the most productive thing, right? That's the bottom line. So, why did this move?
You dropped it.
Everything matters equally. Is it true?
No.
No way. If you decide to not do lead generation tomorrow, what did you do instead? That was more important. If we have no pendings going forward right now, right, and we don't do anything in the next couple days to get a pending, bottom line, we start with maybe trying to get an appointment, then converting that appointment to something under contract, right? We're literally out of business. We have no income coming in. So I think you could value some certain behaviors and some certain things more than others. So it's a lie that everything matters equally. How about this? Are you good? Who would say they're good at multitasking? Especially moms. I know you all feel like you are, right? Moms can multitask better than anybody else. I do agree. But here's what Gary Keller would tell us. It's not true. It's a lie. You're not good at multitasking. You're not. You think you are. What happens when you multitask?
John, if you do that one more time, it's gonna drive me nuts. And I'll tell you why. When Bob put that up on the board, that's me. You see those 4 circles, and I can see why Bob did them. I'm always juggling those things. Which one am I grabbing at this time? Okay, and
Yeah.
it's multitasking. What do you grab first?
Yeah.
This one here all of a sudden becomes more important to you. It's just life. It's moving.
It's true. It is life. But it's a lie that you're good at it. Because what happens, if you're doing more than one thing at a time, you're not doing anything well. Guaranteed. Because you're not focused on it. You're not giving it value over other things. You know, how many of you feel like me? I gotta make a really important call, but it's a really rough call. I don't want to make it, right? And so what do? I procrastinate until it's too, it's the end, maybe, right? I put it off maybe sometimes. But what I always find to be true is if I make a stinking call, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. And the person goes, oh, okay, no problem, we'll work on it. It was no problem. And you're like, I didn't expect that reaction. I thought you were gonna yell at me, right, or cry. I don't like crying, by the way. I don't know why. But no, I'm just kidding. But multitasking. Can you admit you're good at it? Anybody? Okay, what can you do? Multitask and do well, everything.
Listen to music and do a number of things.
Okay, is that multitasking?
I can, let's think about it. Yes.
She's a liar.
All right, I said music, I'll include books, because I do a lot of audiobooks. I can listen to my audiobooks and work out
Okay,
effectively.
yes. Yes. But that's really focusing on working out.
When one of my clients is droning on, I can continue texting and emailing.
When they're on the phone, they don't see you.
Well,
What, do you try that, do you look at that text and make sure it's spelled correctly and the grammar's right and all that, right? Before you,
I can watch 2 sporting events at the same time.
okay,
Cook different components of a meal.
right? That's coordinated though.
Coordinated
Well, you're not really multitasking, you're cooking. You're making a meal. That's all I would say.
oh, that's
Well, taking care of
multitasking. If you're not cutting off your fingers and the ingredients is going right.
Segmenting the task. I can see multitasking, and you're going to do a segment of it perhaps well at that time, but you're not going to do all of your tasks equally well at the same time.
It's impossible. Here's what Gary Keller tells us in the book. It takes us, was it 14 or 17 minutes, one or the other, once we're distracted, to get back to our focus, the same level of focus we were at. So if I'm doing something that's important and you distract me, it's gonna take me 14 or 17 minutes, I forget what it is, to get back to that same level of focus I was on before you distracted me. Yes?
Yes.
That's really what we're talking about. Are you concentrated, doing the best you can do on the one thing?
I can afford something and, okay, give back, there you go, put it on, I'm gonna do this.
So you prioritize and make the most important thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multi Jackson to me would be avoid the rest.
Avoid the rest, yeah, that's what she's saying, okay. How about, you can live a disciplined life?
Oh, that's tough.
When it comes to paperwork, Nancy and I have an issue. We're hoarders.
Look, there goes a chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Can you live a disciplined life?
Yes.
Sometimes, I would say yes.
If my husband is not around, yeah.
What does he do to you? He distracts you?
Distracted.
Hmm. Disciplined life. By the way,
Why
Gary,
is that a lie?
I know. I know.
I wonder why that's a lie.
I want you to read the book. We're gonna talk about it in a second. We are, I promise. All right, how about this? Willpower is always on will call.
Sorry.
Sometimes it doesn't answer.
It's not even there.
Right.
My wife Carrie can be talking to me, if her head goes down, she's gone. We're in the middle of a conversation sometimes when she's asleep, right? See, I gotta keep her head up to continue to talk with me. That's something to talk about. Do you always have willpower on will call? You know, can you muster it? What if some of us make an excuse to try to make this not a lie? We say, oh, I'm gonna get my second wind. I'm gonna have a Coke, 0 for me, no calories, right? Or I'm gonna have a coffee, or what do the young people drink? Monsters and 5-hour little shot things, right? Red Bull. Yeah, did you ever see Jim Carrey with the Red Bull scene in that one movie? That is the best. I'm gonna bring that as just for fun next time. And we're gonna watch it because he ad-libbed, I know he did, and it was incredible. He was on Red Bull, by the way, so you can imagine. He drank a lot of them. No, but what do we say, right? We're gonna try to get energy. We're gonna try to, I'm gonna take a power nap, right? I got a brother, oh, I take a power nap every day, right? And I'm like, why are you so tired at 8 o'clock at night then? You know, he's always leaving everywhere. I gotta go to bed.
You didn't rest enough during the nap time for his bedtime?
Hmm?
He didn't rest enough for his bedtime, for that nap.
Maybe, maybe. Maybe he doesn't eat right, he drinks too much and, you know. Yeah, 5 o'clock somewhere, Howard. All right. Oops, what happened? I'll get to know this thing. How about this?
Balanced life.
It's skipping.
It's multitasking on the
Yes,
Proof it doesn't work.
it's thick. All right. How about this? You can live a balanced life. I can't tell you how many times I've talked about trying this and wanting this, and even in with people I really respected, they wanted to figure out how do we have a balanced life. What does balanced life mean to you? Just anything.
Everybody's got their own difference in balance. You know, one might focus more on their career, one might focus on their physical capabilities, so it's whatever makes your life easiest.
Okay.
An equal share of whatever it is that you want around in your life.
Equal share of everything,
Yeah.
using time. What'd you say?
Bob's a little stick man there.
Yeah.
Bob
Yeah.
Little Stick Man? Yep.
Yep.
Here's the thing. How many hours do we spend at work?
Too many.
How many hours do you work? Yeah, it's real. Let's think about it. 10 hours a day?
Yeah, I try not to think about it.
I know. Because it's too much fun.
It is,
Yeah. And then it becomes not so fun, sometimes.
sometimes.
Then it comes back to being fun.
Yeah.
We love this job, right? There's no other job like it. You guys that are new to the business, it's unbelievable. This job is unbelievable, isn't it? Everybody's been there, yes?
Yes.
Yes, it's unbelievable. We get paid to help people buy and sell houses. How fun is that? And we're all high in here and we love it, right? We're all influential people who love to be around other people. It only feels like work sometimes to me. Most of the time, it's fun. Right? You still like showing buyers. How many years have you been doing the business?
32.
32 years showing buyers, loves it still, right? That's awesome. He wakes up in the morning and can't wait to show some houses. After 32 years, sometimes you go, I don't want to do that anymore, right? It happens,
I see that, John, in my own way.
okay?
It's not all one way. Yes, I love that. I love going out, helping people. But I like when they with me.
Sure.
So to me, it's a match.
Mhm.
That's just personal.
So we work, some of us 10 hours a day, maybe. We sleep how many hours a day?
8.
8? That's good. 6? Bob, how much do you sleep?
I'm up like at 4:30, but I'm like falling asleep in the chair by 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Okay, so he's getting 7, maybe 8. He just does it at weird hours for us. 9 or 10?
Yeah, I'm a
When I get up,
nine.
it's like
Crack at 10, yeah.
If I sleep 9, I'm fine.
Feel good at 9. So we sleep a lot of the 24 hours of the day, right? Maybe a third, some of us are a third. We work at least a third. What else do we do? We fish, we do our hobbies, have fun,
drive a lot.
we eat, we drive, we're in our car a lot. It's a mobile office, right? With all the, you could go into some of our offices and get the envelopes you need and the staple stuff that you need. And I got highlighters in there and pens and, but do we live a balanced life? He needs more sleep. All right, how about this? Does anybody think big is bad? Does big scare you? Going big?
No,
Getting big?
I used to.
Making big money? Some of that,
I gotta tell you, because the woman I love across the room over there, Diane, who if you ever want to slap with a board, loved, she would be more than happy to do it. She slapped me yesterday on this very topic. You know, we were in our mastermind group, and one of the things that Henry Ford, there's a movie out there, The Men Who Built, Great Men Who Built America.
Yes.
It's a documentary, and one of the things Henry Ford had said was, he had amassed $200 million or whatever that dollar amount was, and he said that, hey, I was happier when I was a mechanic. So we were having the question about, hey, what's enough? It's the head thing for me. It's always the head thing. And she, in love, but as Diane can do, said, let's stop for a second. How honest can I be with you? I said, very. She said, you're no Henry Ford. And she proceeded to beat me with the board, and I love her for it, so thank you.
In a very good way.
In a very good way, in a very good way.
so what we say at Keller Williams is, how honest can I be with you? There's, on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being very, very honest, 1 being not honest at all, right? What would you say if we're having a conversation right now about something and I said, how honest do you want me to be on a scale of 1 to 10? 11, 10, 10,
No, lie to me.
7? Yeah, you want me to lie to you?
Yeah, right.
Anybody else? What number comes to your head immediately?
Absolutely 10.
12. But I had a scale of 1 to 10. How do you, you guys are out of the box. Out of the box thinkers. I like that. It's good. You're 11.
Yeah.
Who else?
Depends.
10.
A 10, okay?
Depends on the question.
Why would anybody not want to
It
try?
depends.
The 10's
That's
not
interesting
unlimited,
answer.
John, I think.
Huh?
The 10 is never unlimited. You're always pressing for the 10 and the 10 keeps getting up there.
Here's what I would say psychologically. Because now I have to be a psychologist in a position I'm in a lot of times, right?
We're realtors, we get it.
Yeah. If you don't say 10, I'm not real interested in having the conversation with you. Because I believe you're gonna lie to me, or you're gonna sugarcoat, or you're gonna pull punches, right? Let's be tens. Let's be tens with each other. Not in our face, mean, without tact. I don't mean that. I mean, let's have honest conversations, right? Let's tell the truth. If you're playing the victim, guess what I'm gonna tell you? You're playing the victim, knock it off. Be responsible for your own behavior. You make choices every day. Make the right ones. Stop blaming everybody else. In this business, it's so easy to blame the market, interest rates, the loan officer, the inspector tried to blow this deal up, right?
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is, but guess what? Many times, I know with you especially, you keep it together,
What else are you gonna do?
right? What else you gonna do? Let it fall apart? Well, you don't sit around and go, this inspector sucks, right? You go, all right, let's deal with this. Yeah, let's deal with this, right?
We have a loan
Let's
on
go
the
through the inspection things and let's come to the conclusion. And many times it works. But we start to stress, right? You know what I mean? All right, so I would say big is bad is a lie. I agree with Gary Keller. Doing 10 transactions may feel good, but would 50 feel good too? I know there's people in this room that have sold 50 transactions a year, in 1 year, probably multiple times in their careers. Would 10 be acceptable to you, Nancy?
Oh, no.
A month, 10 a month, right? I remember we sold 13, we had 13 closings last June maybe, or something, right? And I was like, big is not bad. Did you see those checks? That was awesome. And our teammates were making money and, our clients were happy. Kathleen basically kept it all together for me. Big's not bad. Okay, everything matters equally. We all agree with this one, so I'm gonna go fast through this one, right? Because we agree not everything matters equally, right? There are more important things than other things we could be doing, thinking about, planning, whatever. There's people in our lives, let's be honest, right? There are more, you wanna spend time with more than another person. Maybe it's positivity and negativity, you're trying to avoid the negative person, right?